14th, 2016, regular meeting of the Mentor Exempted Village Board of Education is called to order. This meeting is being held in accordance with Section 3313.15 of the Ohio Revised Code. Mr. Wilson, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Reiner.
Here.
Ms. Jisling.
Present.
Mr. Shaw. Here. Mr. Tuttle, reported absent. Ms. Miller.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to welcome everyone to the June 14th, 2016 regular meeting of the Mentor Exempted Village Board of Education. Prior to this evening, each board member has received for their review and consideration the agenda and materials associated with each agenda item for the board's approval via the district's paperless Board of Education agenda system called Board Docs. The public can access the agenda through the school district's website. The agenda is available through the district's website for public viewing the Sunday prior to the board meeting. Board members have the opportunity to call the superintendent and the chief financial officer for information concerning agenda items and to request, if needed, additional information. There are two places on the agenda when the board entertains comments from the community. The first hearing of the public is dedicated to those who wish to address the board on agenda items only. The second hearing of the public is dedicated to those who wish to address the board on any subject, whether it is an item on the agenda or another issue. When addressing the board, please state your name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please address your comments to the president. This meeting is being televised on a delayed basis and will be shown on the Time Warner Cable Channel 96.96 in Mentor and Channel 96.22 in Mentor-on-the-Lake. This meeting is also being videotaped and will be shown on our YouTube channel, Cardinal TV, Mentor, Ohio. Please place your mobile telephones on silent mode during the meeting. Approval of the minutes from the May 10th, 2016 regular meeting and the May 31st, 2016 special meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jisling.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Reiner.
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes. This time we will have a hearing of the public. Does anyone from the audience have anything they would like to share with us? Okay, thank you. Mr. Miller, the superintendent's report and recommendation.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. I have the following recommendations listed under the consent agenda and recommend approval of consent agenda items 5A1 through 5A3.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Reiner.
Yes.
Ms. Jisling.
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. Madam President and members of the board, we start our student recognition tonight with our Mentor High School Physics Bowl team. Mr. Wade, along with Mrs. Briner, will make the presentation.
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Miller and Mr. Wilson, each year approximately 10,000 students take a 40-question, 45-minute time test, multiple choice test under their school supervision. This year, the 2016 exam was given in April 2016. Each exam questions are based on topics and concepts covered in a typical high school class. The students take the class after 1 year of physics. Tonight, we'd like to recognize our students who did very, very well and represented us well. We had a team of students who placed first in the region, and that included Dalen Crawford, Joshua Furness, Haley Oser, Raghav Mullik, and Omar Mansour, if they would join me on stage if they're here tonight. Let's give them a round of applause, please. special recognition should be given to Omar, who finished third in the world. That is correct, third in the world for his score, and Raghav, who finished second in his region. So congratulations to those students as well.
Next, we are recognizing 3 Mentor High School art students for their exceptional sweep of the Congressional Art Competition.
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Miller and Mr. Wilson, we are excited to announce that Mentor High School fine arts students took top awards in the Congressional Art Competition again this year. This competition allows high school students from around the country to showcase their artistic abilities. Mentor students will represent Ohio's 14th district in the House of Representatives. Students are also given the opportunity to meet with Congressman David Joyce. This year's winners include, and if Ms. Kane would join me on stage to congratulate these students. Give her a second here as I put her on the spot. Junior Alexa Valor, who got third place, her piece will hang in the Congressman Painesville's office for 1 year. Congratulations to Alexa if she would come up on stage with us. For the second year in a row, senior Megan Fortney received second place, and her piece will hang in the Congressman's Washington, D.C. office for 1 year. So if Megan is here, she would join us on stage, please. And junior Hannah Speaker received a first place. Her piece will be displayed on our nation's Capitol building for 1 year. Hannah will be attending the ribbon cutting ceremony and see her piece displayed this month, so congratulations to Hannah. Well written.
Well done. Proud. Thank you. Proud of you.
All right, next we will recognize the Mentor High School track team state qualifiers, another outstanding state track meet in Columbus, and I know a few of these athletes are going to compete at nationals in North Carolina, I think, later this week. Mr. Casella, I probably just stole your speech, didn't I?
No, it's okay.
Along with Mr. Wade and Mrs. Briner will make the presentation.
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Miller and Mr. Wilson, we had another great spring season here at Mentor. And this past first weekend in June, we had several of our track and field athletes represent us and do great things at the state track and field meet at Ohio State University. All of them competed against the best in the state of Ohio, and I'm proud to say we came home with some hardware in the form of many great individual performances. First, I'd like to bring up our boys track team, and if my head coach Bill Dennison would join me on stage, along with boys track team members Matt Bull, Joe Polakowski, Robbie Seaton-Todd, and Joe Brickman. On our boys' side this year, we had 2 individuals and a relay team compete at the state meet. Matt Bull competed in the 800-meter run, and he finished 9th in the state in that individual event. Joe Polakowski competed in both the 1,600-meter and the 1,300-meter runs. Joe finished 4th in the state in the mile and 12th in the state in the 2-mile. He set our school record that was held, I believe, since 1969 in the mile run this year with a time of 4 minutes, 12 seconds, 12.78 seconds. Finally, joining Matt and Joe are the 4x8 meter relay team, Robbie Seton Todd and Joe Brickman. They finished third in the 4x8 relay, setting a school and area record of 7 minutes, 44.59 seconds. This was the highest Mentor boys relay finish in the state meet since the 1930s. So congratulations to our boys track team. By the way, all 4 of those young men were also named academic All-Ohioans. So fantastic job there. Now for our girls team, if Coach Bob Burwald would join me on stage, along with girls track team members Emma Lane, Sarah Lane, Aisha Muhammad, Amelia DiBiasio, and Sam Meyer. We had 2 relay teams and a couple of individuals compete in the girls' state meet. Our 4x200 meter relay team of Emma Lane, Aisha Muhammad, Amelia DiBiasio, and Sarah Lane qualified for the state meet, just missing out on finals. Our 4x4 meter relay team of Emma Lane, Aisha Muhammad, Amelia DiBiasio, and Sam Meyer qualified for the finals, finishing 7th in the state of Ohio. In addition to our 2 relay teams, Aisha, who could not be here with us tonight, competed in the 100-meter hurdles. She finished 9th in that event in the state of Ohio. Last but not least, Emma Lane also competed in the 400-meter and finished as state runner-up in that event. Throughout the season, she also set school records in the 200-meter, 400-meter, and 800-meter runs during this past season. So a fantastic season by all of them.
Very proud of you.
In addition to that as well, Emma Lane, Amelia DiBiasio, and Sam Meyer were also named academic All-Ohioans. So congratulations to our track team.
Thank you, Mr. Casella. Mr. Wade and Mrs. Briner will now recognize Mentor High School teacher Carissa Richards, who is not here this evening. Or
She's
she
here.
is. Okay, good. Just making sure. Recipient of the Brigham Young University Alumni Association's Golden Apple Award.
I would ask at this time if Carrie Lewis, the co-chair of the BYU Alumni Association, and Haley Oser would join Ms. Richards on stage as we say a few words to recognize Mrs. Richards. Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Miller and Mr. Wilson, it's my pleasure to recognize a great teacher here tonight. This teacher won the Cleveland chapter of the Brigham Young University Alumni Association's Golden Apple Award. The Golden Apple Award was created to select and recognize teachers that demonstrate excellence in teaching, mentoring, and guiding youth in Northeast Ohio. The effort engages students to thoughtfully select and articulately nominate those teachers making a significant impact on their educational pursuits. It is no surprise to hear this year Ms. Carissa Richards was nominated by Haley Oser and won this year's Golden Apple. Congratulations to Ms. Richards, and I ask Haley to come up and read her essay that she wrote.
Mrs. Richards is the kind of teacher that students connect with, and she helps inspire them. She helps inspire them to want to learn. Though she teaches a subject that I consider to be one of my worst, I'm always excited to go to class because she is always passionate about her teaching. And she's not only passionate about what she is teaching, but about what her students are learning. She is actively engaged in her students' education, staying after school often to assist students with college essays, book club, AP review, or any time a student needs help. She knows that many of her students take AP English so that they can get a head start for college, and many of the students are taking English for the last time. She makes sure that we are prepared for higher education in any way that she can, giving us skills to help us succeed. Not only is she engaged in our education, but she encourages us to be better people, to keep our integrity, and to learn from what we read in class and from each other. Even though it is just an English class on paper, Mrs. Richards makes it so much more as she encourages us to apply what we have learned, be inspired from it, and change. We learn not only about English, but about bettering ourselves so that we are more able to serve others. She's always empathetic, understanding, and knowledgeable.
Madam President and members of the board, 2 weeks ago we celebrated the graduation of our high school seniors. Tonight we celebrate a different kind of graduation, that of our 2015-2016 retirees. It's with mixed emotions that we recognize our retiring faculty and staff. We thank them for their many years of dedicated service, and tonight those being honored represent 523 years in all of service to Mentor Schools. We wish them good health and happiness in their retirement. Mrs. Burnett and Mrs. Briner are going to assist me on stage. As I call your name, please come forward and remain on stage until all the names have been called and we can recognize you. First up, Patty Cahill. Patty here tonight. Patty has spent 22 years with Mentor Public Schools as an elementary school nurse. Recently, she traveled between Fairfax and Brentmore. Next would be Linda Morey. I saw Linda. Linda is retiring after 23 years as an elementary teacher with Mentor Public Schools. Her most recent building was Sterling Morton as a third grade teacher. Next, Tricia Schock. Tricia is retiring with 27 years as an elementary teacher with Mentor Public Schools. Her most recent assignment was Sterling Morton as a kindergarten teacher. Next up is Bob Bailey. Bob began his career as a substitute custodian, working his way to head custodian at Mentor High School. In 1989, Bob joined the administrative staff as the supervisor of building services, spending over 20 years with Mentor Public Schools. Next up is Kathy Bauer. I saw Kathy. Kathy started with Mentor Public Schools as a classroom assistant in 1999, moving to secretary at Center Street Elementary in 2000. Kathy then moved to Hopkins Elementary in 2004 after the closing of Center Street School. Kathy is retiring with 17 years in the district. Next is Kathy Borden. Kathy started as a server at Ridge Middle School in 1987. She spent time at Memorial and Brentmore before moving to Hopkins in 1987, where she served out the remainder of her 30 years with our district. Congratulations, Kathy. Next is Karen Brown. Karen spent 18 years in our elementary schools as a classroom assistant and office aide. Her last assignment was at Orchard Hollow as the office aide, where she will be missed in the main office. Next, I keep talking about her, Sarah Carver. Sarah Carver here? Nope. Okay. Sarah became a secretary at Shore in '85, and in '91, when she moved to she moved to Mentor High School. Sarah was highly involved with MCE, serving many positions. Sarah has dedicated 30 years to Mentor Schools. Congratulations to Sarah. Barb Craigwood. Barb here? Barb has been a dependable and caring bus operator for Mentor Public Schools for over 22 years. She has enjoyed the many students and who she has transported to and from school every day. Congratulations, Barb. Next up is Mickey Dahl. Mickey's here, I thought. Nope. Mickey began her time with Mentor in '91, spending time at Mentor High in the service building before moving on to Ridge. Mickey spent 14 years at Ridge, giving 27 years to Mentor Schools. Suzanne Dubinsky. Suzanne worked as a classroom assistant for the district for 22 years, spending time at many buildings. Her most recent assignment was in the preschool classroom at Ridge Middle School. Roy Fleming. Roy started in Mentor in 2007 with 8 of his years at Rice Elementary. Next is Bev Frischkorn. There's Bev. Bev's time began in 1979 in the food service department. Bev went on to spend time as an account clerk before she became the voice in the first phase of Mentor Schools as our switchboard operator. Bev dedicated 37 years to our district. Cindy Furman. Cindy started with Mentor Schools in 1990 with the food service department, working with them through '05. Cindy then transferred to records clerk position, where she spent the remainder of her 25 years. Brenda Cahoot. Brenda has been a dependable bus operator for us since 1985, spending 30 years transporting our children. Congratulations, Brenda. Very happy for you. Jim Kuhn. Jim worked in our maintenance department from '86 to 2016, which his experience in his trade was highly depended upon and trusted on. Jim has over 29 years with the district. Vern Miles. Vern has worked as a custodian in the district from 1981 to 2016, spending 35 years with Mentor Public Schools, and most recently was a part of the Ridge Middle School team. Congratulations to Vern. Jan Preto. Jan joined Mentor Schools in 2006 and is retiring after 10 years as a bus assistant with Mentor Public Schools. Congratulations, Jan.
Thanks for all you've done for the school.
Diane Ruland. Diane started in 1998 as a classroom assistant, where she spent most of her 17 years, finishing with the last few years with our food service department. Carol Sylvie. I saw Carol. There she is. Carol began with the district in 1995 as a secretary at Headlands Elementary, moving to the front office at Brentmore. Carol's been with Mentor Public Schools over 21 years. Congratulations. Ron Skinner. Ron started in '95. He worked as a custodian, material handler, and maintenance at Mentor High School and will be retiring with 21 years of service. And last on my list, and I don't see her unless she snuck in, is Paulette Spihek. Paulette began her time with Mentor Schools in '91 at Mentor High School, spending time at Rice before moving on to the board office. Paulette started as an administrative assistant to the superintendent in '07, where she completed 25 years of service with Mentor Public Schools. Congratulations again to all of our retirees. We wish you nothing but the best in your future endeavors, so thank you very, very much. I know that Kristen in the back here is going to grab you for a group photo. It's, right now, I think we'll go ahead and do that. You want to take them out, maybe? Okay. If not, you are now. Yeah. 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 All right, next. Madam President and members of the board, Mentor Schools is incredibly fortunate to have the support of many local businesses. Mr. Wilson, along with Mrs. Briner, will recognize the 2016 Ohio School Business Honor Award winners. And I am honored that a lot of this group could come this evening, with just a couple exceptions. When you are working with a school district, it takes not only the parents, our teachers and staff, but it also takes a lot of the business leaders who are also our school community partners in our district. They help us out with business advisory, with Speakers Bureau, with campaigns, with getting the word out about our schools, and they're always willing to pitch in. And tonight, I'm honored to recognize several of our businesses for this award, and also individuals that also have helped Mentor Schools as well. So as I call your name, if you could please come up as well, and to receive recognition for all that you do for our district and for our kids. I'm going to start with businesses alphabetically. I'm going to start with Christine Blake from Cardinal Community Credit Union. We started with a smart one. So, next from Crossroads, Mike Martoni. Mike. From Dollar Bank, Tim Cost. I'm not sure if I saw Tim. From First Merit, oh, Christine, you got to stay up there. Sorry. She'll never come back. From First Merit Bank, Jim Burke. There's Jim. From Freedon Corporation, I don't see Allison, but we have Roger Star here from Freedon. Thank you, Roger. Next, from Lakeland Community College, Morris Beveridge and Dion Dimitro. Gotcha. Next, from the Mentor Area Chamber of Commerce, Al DeFranco. Al? Good try. From PNC Bank, Heidi Illenfield. Heidi? Next, from Prelude Photography, Matt Husted. Many of our Business Honor Roll inductees tonight are also parents or former parents of students that either are in Mentor schools or graduated from Mentor schools or graduated themselves. Matt is a parent of 3 Mentor students. Next up, from ProMark Enterprises, Patty Perry. Also a proud parent of a Mentor student. And last and certainly not least tonight, from Trevisano CPA, Pam Trevisano. Congratulations to all of our OSBA Business Honor Roll inductees. Thank you very much. Photo time with Kristen as well, so thank you. All right, at this point, Madam President, members of the board, this is the first reading of new policy 9.44. Because this is the first reading, no vote is necessary, but I just want to call it out and bring it to your attention. Next on the agenda, I'm recommending approval of agenda item C1 related to certified staff and C2 through C4, all related to human resource matters.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Jisling,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner,
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to table item or letter number D for right now.
Withdrawal.
Withdrawal. Thank you. That's all right. Item number E, Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the administrative staff reappointment book for the 16-17 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes my part of tonight's agenda.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes,
Ready for your
under
business part?
Board of Education business, as you know, last year, you employed me to serve jointly as our CFO as well as treasurer for the Kirtland local school district. That agreement expires on June 30th of this year. Both the Kirtland Board of Education and our Board of Education have been agreeable to extending the agreement for another year. So tonight would be to enter into a new shared treasurer's agreement in accordance with 3313.222 of the Ohio Revised Code for a period beginning July 1st through June 30th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
To accompany that, Ohio law also requires that any time there's an appointment of a treasurer/CFO, there must be a new faithful performance bond filed. So this motion would enable us to obtain the performance bond as required in law.
So moved.
Second?
Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
And next, as you know, last year, for the first time, at the request of the Kirtland Local School District, we became the provider of the food service program for the Kirtland local schools. It was a one-year agreement that expires June 30th of this year. The superintendent in Kirtland and our superintendent discussed and then agreed to a proposed agreement that would extend for the next 2 years, as has been distributed with the board agenda. So tonight we're asking that we enter into a new 2-year agreement to provide food service program to the Kirtland local school district.
So moved.
Second?
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
You doing this one, Matt?
Yeah. Alicia, we didn't forget about you. You're next on the agenda. Tonight we have we accepted the bid on the house, the Lakeshore Compact House, and we're very excited about how the process went. We are very excited for Alicia, who is going to be who is now the new homeowner of the Lakeshore Compact House, our first ever. So we're very proud of that and wish you nothing but the best. So we just wanted to give you a little gift from the students and from the board to wish you well in your new home. So if you could please come on up, we'd appreciate it. And I'm going to announce you as Alicia Smychinski. Is that right?
Matt, perhaps as she's walking up, we could have a motion and second and make it official there.
Do we need that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that in there?
Yeah, so moved.
All right.
Second.
Oh, and happily call the roll.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Absolutely.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
How exciting. Enjoy your
Very excited. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Tuttle's not here, so there's no legislative report. And then, Mr. Wilson, the financial officer's report and recommendations, please.
Yes, we've now completed 11 months of the fiscal year. As we noted when we presented a 5-year forecast, we are performing very well compared to the annual budget. Revenues are currently 103% of what was budgeted. Expenses are currently 3.5% less than budgeted. So the year's tracking as we presented in the forecast and very favorably on both the revenue side and expense side.
motion, please, to accept the financial statements?
So moved.
Second. Oh, call the roll.
Ms.
I'm sorry.
Jisling?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
It's recommended the Board of Education approve the investment transactions presented in Exhibit 7-B.
So moved.
Second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller, or Mrs. Briner, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
It's recommended the Board of Education approve the interfund transfers listed in Exhibit 7-C.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
It's recommended the Board of Education approve the appropriation modifications listed in Exhibit 7-D.
So moved.
Second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
It's recommended the Board of Education approve the supplemental appropriations listed in Exhibit 7-E.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
And every 5 years, we're required to enter into new agreements with financial institutions to receive public deposits of monies. Our 5-year current agreements expire the end of July of this year. The first step in pursuing new agreements for a 5-year period starts with us estimating the maximum amount of deposits that may be available to financial institutions. So tonight, we're asking you to approve the resolution presented in Exhibit 7-F. We'll then distribute a request for quotations and then bring back to you at the July meeting a request to approve new depositories for a 5-year period.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
And next, as you'll recall, the Mentor Public Library is organized as the Mentor Exempted Village Public Library, and as such, we're required to appoint trustees, approve their annual budget, approve their annual tax budget, and anytime they have a need for pursuing a tax levy, approve that. So tonight is a request to approve the tax budget previously approved by the Public Library Board of Trustees so that we can submit it to the Lake County Budget Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
And that completes my items for this evening.
Does anyone have any new business?
Oh, yes, new
New
business?
business.
Yes.
We need to establish a meeting date.
I'm requesting, as you know, to satisfy various audit requirements and regulations, we're required to do certain things to close the fiscal year on June 30th. We're requesting that the board meet for a brief meeting sometime during that last week of June, the 27th, 28th, 29th, or even the 30th. In the past, we've done a 7 a.m. or 7:30 meeting. Typically, the meetings last about 15 minutes. So we're asking if it's possible to establish the date tonight.
This is the last week of June.
It would be the 27th. 27th would be the Monday.
Wednesday or
That would be fine for me.
How's Wednesday, Thursday for everybody?
Either of those
Yeah, is
days
Thursday
works for
too
me.
late?
No.
I can do morning.
Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday is good for me.
Yeah.
7:30?
Thursday,
Wednesday or
June
Thursday works
30th.
for me.
time preference, 7:30 acceptable?
Yes. Was that AM or
We land on
PM?
the
AM, please.
Well, Thursday, the 30th?
Thursday, June 30th, 7:30 AM. We'll notice the meeting for purposes of closing the fiscal year.
And
At the-
somebody will let Tom know.
At the board office?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are we ready to go on?
Yes.
Is there a second, this is the time for the second hearing of the public? At this time, the board is going to move to executive session for to talk about potential purchase of property and personnel issues. There may be a vote when we return. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Please call the roll.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes. We're back in session of the June 14th, 2016 Mentor Exempted Village Board of Education meeting. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. I would like to recommend on our original agenda under item D, I'm recommending approval of the administrative employee benefits and performance stipends for the 15-16 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wilson, call the roll.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Thank you. Now to you.
And now to me. During our executive session, let's do this other one first. We talked about a resolution for compensation of the chief financial officer. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that based on the performance goals met by the Chief Financial Officer for the 2015-2016 year, that a 2% stipend be paid, and further the 2016-2017 base salary for the CFO be increased 1.5%.
Any other discussion? Second.
Second?
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Also in executive session, we discussed the purchase of property, and I believe that tonight we'll not be voting on that, but does anybody have any discussion or comments?
I do. First, you probably can't see on camera, but we've had some very patient officials from the City of Mentor join us this evening, and we greatly appreciate your involvement in these talks and this whole process. That being said, we feel that we do have a reasonable counteroffer that you will be hearing from us or be given very, very soon. I can't say tomorrow, but it would be certainly within the next 24 to 48 hours. And I hope that we can have further discussion and get this wrapped up to bring a very fine project to the City of Mentor that'll benefit all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. I think the board agrees with you entirely.
Absolutely.
Does anybody else have anything else? A motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Please call the roll.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.